Okay, I'm going to show you how to create a cutting plan using Autodesk Inventor software. For this assignment, it doesn't have to be done in Inventor. You may use AutoCAD to lay this out, or you could also lay this out on paper using the quarter-inch grid graph paper that we have here in the classroom. For the Inventor portion, you're going to do this on an assembly file type. So what I have up here is I have an attempt of a cutting plan that is not going to work. You can see in green here, this represents my 16.5 inch by 3/4 stock. So you're being given these two pieces of pine that are 3/4 inch square. They are 16.5 inches long. You need to figure out how you can arrange your parts so that you can get them out of those two pieces of material and no other pieces of material. We don't want to waste material by using a portion of additional stock, and we want to plan accordingly so that we can get the material out of here. So you can see in here on this top piece that this part B that's up here is sticking off the end. It's too long. It's not going to fit in this combination of parts. So I need to think about, is there a way I could move these parts around and put them in a different order or a different rotation that might make things work. What you'll want to do is start a new assembly file, and I have a portion of what it might look like right here. I am going to go to a new assembly file that I have here. You're going to go into File, you're going to go into New, and you're going to go into Assembly. That's going to launch you here. You want to place your 3/4 stock. So I'm going to get two pieces of stock, open them, and I'm going to place them on my drawing just like that. Okay. Now after I do that, I want to constrain those pieces. I'm going to flush two faces of these things. I'm going to flush this face and that face with each other, and then I'll also flush, I'll hit apply on that, and I'm going to flush this face and this face and hit apply on that. Okay, so these two pieces are lined up right next to each other, right on top of each other. I'm going to, before I go any further, I'm going to ground these pieces out. So right click on them, make them grounded. And the other thing I want to do with the piece is I'm going to take its visibility and make it transparent. So don't check the visibility box, come down here and check the transparency box. So you can see what the difference here. Now it's kind of transparent, kind of hiding like it's in the background there. Right click on it, you want to ground it, and then right click again, and you want to make it transparent. So there are my two pieces of stock. When I look at them straight on, you see these two pieces that represent the wood that we're going to cut our parts out on. Now you need to bring all your parts in place, and so you want to go up to the place icon and select those files. So you go to place, find all your files. So I can hold my shift key down as I select my parts and come down through my list here. Just keep in mind you are going to need two parts E and F. So after I do this, I'll need to place another part E and F in there. But I got A, B, C, D, E and F, and G. And I'm going to just say open those guys. And here they all are in a kind of a mess. Just hit escape there. And I want one more E and F. So I go place, and I'm going to go get another E and F to get started with. And I'm going to open that E and F and put that out there. Okay, so all my parts appear here. To begin with, what I'm going to do is pick a rectangle that represents our stock here, and I'm going to rotate these using the constrain tool just by simply flushing these parts. So I will flush this face to that face and apply, and then I'll flush this face to that face and apply. Okay, and as I start thinking about my parts and where they're going to go, maybe I'll take the other one that looks like that. I'm going to flush this face to this face and apply, and then I might flush, take my constraint there, flush that face to that face, make it a flush, and apply. And then to rotate this, you don't need a rotate tool, use your constraint tool. I'm going to flush this face to that face. And there it is in my part. Now what I have here, right, by using those flushes, I can move these parts back and forth in here to get kind of a general idea of how they might fit on my stock. So I'm going to first use all my flushes in my constraints just to get parts in order. So I use flush again. Maybe I take this part and I flush it to this part, and I hit apply, and then I continue to flush the top, and that, and apply, and it lines up out there. Maybe want to put one down, so hit apply there, flush this face. I'm going to put on the lower part down here, and I'm going to flush and hit apply, flush this part, and I might pick the surface of that bottom one there, down there, and apply. You kind of get the general idea of what's going on here. I'm going to take this little short one, flush this face to that face over there, and apply him, and then I'm going to rotate him by flushing this side face to the top of that face right there, and there he is out there, and I hit apply. And I can do the same thing with these parts here. Flush this face, flush it to there, and apply that. And then if I flush, now you want to pick carefully. Oops, cancel that. I'm going to constrain this again. Flush this face to as we pick these carefully. You think about how your angle is going to be, and I hit apply there. But for the time being, just to see what I've got most of my parts placed. I'm going to flip this so I look at them straight on here. And you can see I can kind of move these parts around and in line there. And what I may want to do is take my stock. If I right-click on the stock, I can hide that stock by clicking the visibility and turning it off. And now I can move my parts, and I can really kind of line things up here just to see how they might fit on the overall stock itself. And you can use the bottom stock to get a general idea of where you are as you kind of picturing this out and see, do I have enough room where things are going to be? And then you go back and you turn that stock on back up here, right click, and hit the visibility, and there's your stock. And which I got a little sticking off on the end there, so I actually have to bump them down a bit. So use this to plan your layout and think about your layout and make sure you have enough material to make these fit. And you can play around. Now let's say you got the pieces in the wrong order. You don't like how they are lined up in here, and you want to change and break those constraints and move them around. So come over here, click on the little plus for the part, right click on the constraint you want to get rid of. And so if you highlight the part, you can figure out which constraint it is that you need to break, and you right click on it, hit delete. You can break them both, hit delete, and that allows you to, well, when we have access to see that surface there, and I might have to turn my visibility off on this, but that will allow me to then move this part around and reposition it the way I want to reposition it. So use flushes to kind of align them and get them to where you want them to go, and use your visibility here to turn a part on and off, just so you can kind of see how the parts are fitting in here. After you have a layout that you're satisfied with, go open your cutting template, your layout template, the same layout template you use for your big joint house, and on here, this is where we'll produce the cutting plan. So I'm going to move over to a size B sheet. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So when you've opened your layout template, you're going to need to go to a larger sheet size here, and even if it's the one you did your big joint house layout, that's fine. I'm just going to come down here and double click on the size B. Size B is an 11 by 17. It allows you to to fit a full-scale arrangement of your stock in there. I don't need the border or the title block, and in fact, I think it might get in the way here in a minute. But right now, let's just go ahead and place our assembly. And the last file I worked with was that assembly drawing, and I want to place this in. I want to place it in full scale. Although I don't need it, but I'm going to place it full scale. So you can see how my border gets away. Again, I don't need the border or the title block for what you need to turn in for me. So to get rid of those things, after I place this, I'm going to do this with a hidden line style, and I'm going to say OK. That shows me my parts that are within my stock. And so I can turn my title block off, or I can delete my title block and my border by just coming down here, clicking on the plus sign, opening this up, and then right-clicking on these parts. Now you see my layout, okay? And here's my stock. If you really wanted to label this stock, you could then go into annotate, and you could balloon these parts relative to your assembly, so you know what's what, and you can use the ballooning and your parts. You can put your parts list out here for your sizes, and you have. So this is one option. I've shown the saw curve in the plan, and my arrangement has it that I have a little bit of scrap at the end down here on both ends of it. This is one way you can do your cutting plan. It is one of 3 possible solutions. This is one of 2 best solutions that you could use. And again, I might just balloon my parts based off of a parts list from my assembly. So if I highlight the actual big joint house assembly that I created earlier, I can put a parts list in here. My parts labeled what they are there. I can fill my table in, and then you can balloon this so you know when you're looking at it. Right click and hit continue. You know what part you're looking at. Right click, continue. Right click, continue. Whoops. And you got the idea here. Click, right click, and continue. And you pull your parts out, right click, continue. That way, this is of use to you when you look at it. Click, right click, continue. Whoops, I actually brought in this part. Doesn't appear to be the right number. I might need to let's balloon him again, find out what we got. Click, right click, and continue. Hit escape. This guy, delete. Now I need to double check. I may have actually brought in one of the same part, but looking at the distance on here, it doesn't appear to be that way. So my parts are ballooned out. I have a table that matches so I can look at it. And now what you need to do is export this. And so you'll save this, and then you'll export it as a PDF.